Welcome everybody to the 16th annual San Diego Asian Film Festival. I think you're all here because of BuzzFeed, so let's get the show on the road. All right, so a little bit about why we chose to feature BuzzFeed at our film festival this year. So a couple years ago, we recognized that people don't watch films the way they used to, and so we wanted to create a series called the Digital Pioneer Series. So every year we pick usually an individual, an artist, a creator who has really brought Asian American storytelling to kind of new levels online or in new media. But this year we decided to highlight not an individual but an entire company. BuzzFeed, just a couple of years ago, I think they were best known as just a repository of top 10 lists. And but what I realized was these top 10 lists got more and more interesting. It was clear that these top 10 lists were being catered to groups that didn't normally get spoken to by the media. Top 10 things that only you would understand. And there's something really special about that. And as BuzzFeed grew to become just one of the most important sites for news, for commentary, for opinion on the internet, I think that happened in the same time that they started to embrace Asian Americans in front of the camera, behind the camera, and also in the audience. But I think a lot of you already know this, because I think many of you are those in the audience. All right, so let me introduce to you our guests for tonight. Let's see, are you all ready back there? Are you all ready in front? All right, so we've got video producers Abe Forman-Greenwald and Eugene Lee Yang, as well as Abe, Eugene, as well as Mallory Wang, senior business analyst at BuzzFeed, and our moderator is comedian, director, actress, and last year's recipient of the Digital Pioneer Award, Anna Akana. So, Anna, we're starting a little bit late, so we can take this a little bit longer if we need. We'll give you the cue. Take it away.
Cool. Should I move this? Can everyone hear? Okay, cool. I'm not texting. I have a bunch of questions here. Okay, I'd love to show, that was clip 1, correct? Thank you. These are all of our panelists, and give it up for BuzzFeed. I'm pretty sure everyone in the world knows BuzzFeed. I'd love to go down the line and everyone just introduce yourself, tell us what your role is at BuzzFeed, and your deepest, darkest secret.
I don't know about the last one, but my name is Abe Forman-Greenwald. I am a video producer at BuzzFeed, and I am on the unscripted team, and also directing a documentary that'll be the first kind of longer form BuzzFeed doc.
Nice.
And hi guys, I'm Mallory. I'm a senior business analyst, and I work and lead the analytics team for video. And I'm also leading a lot of the initiatives for BuzzFeed Motion Pictures internationally.
Hi, I'm Eugene, video producer, which entails directing, producing, writing, and a lot of on-screen performance. My deepest, darkest secret.
He's going for it. He's going for it.
When I was a kid, I used to make little figurines out of Play-Doh of people who bullied me and then run over them with a lawnmower.
Oh, like voodoo.
Yeah, it was really healthy. So.
Did anything ever happen from that?
My parents got really worried.
Okay. Good to know. I'll write that down. And I'd love to know, how did you guys come to work for the company, and what was your professional background before that?
So for me, I'm probably the oldest person at BuzzFeed, so I did, I had...
Yes. But he looks great.
Thank you, Mallory.
So he's 16.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a lot of jobs before BuzzFeed. A lot of documentary stuff, worked as an editor for a while, did a few of my own films, some TV, nonfiction TV series, and just prior to BuzzFeed, I was at Huffington Post doing their live show called HuffPost Live. But always kind of had my eye on it. I thought it was a really exciting place to be. I kind of knew that motion pictures was starting up. It was called BuzzFeed Video back then.
Correct.
And I just wanted to be a part of it and was lucky enough to make that happen.
Awesome. Cool, and I was an econ major at UCSD. At Thurgood Marshall, anybody? Thurgood? TMC, okay. That's what's up, see? I was like, this is my
are there
stomping
Asian
ground.
people at UCSD?
And I was like, yes, there are. Many of us. So yeah, I was an econ major. I got into kind of like a finance finance background, and then I really didn't like that, so I decided to go into like digital stuff, and I got into BuzzFeed about 2.5 years ago, and it's been pretty awesome. So,
Oh
yeah.
I was a film major at USC, and then I was just a very serious writer-director. Fun fact, so when I came into the company, like most of us as young producers, we weren't actually going in to be on camera. So a lot of what people know me as a performer kind of came organically through the company over the past couple years. So yeah, but before that, and still now, I'm more of a, I consider myself more of a director.
Nice. This isn't a question that I prepared, but every time I think about BuzzFeed, I think about you have a video for literally everything. Every race, everything that can happen, every kind of person trying every kind of food. Like, what is the idea generating process for this? Do you guys work as a whole team? Do you have different departments that tackle it?
You just have like a bunch of corgis running around?
Yeah.
With like balls
Cats
with
too,
words?
though. Cats too.
Cats and corgis?
Yeah.
So it's like Taylor Swift and body image and Filipino food? And this is a video. You would watch that, right?
Yeah.
Cats try Filipino food for the first time.
With Taylor Swift.
With Taylor Swift, correct.
Yeah.
That-
Huge.
yeah.
That's mega viral for
That's
sure.
it. We got it right here.
I'll let Abe seriously answer that question.
So yeah, my serious answer to that is, you know, I think the most unusual thing about BuzzFeed is how many, it's so many people doing their own videos, and I think that's really unique. Like, because I had done so many jobs before this, you're kind of part of a larger team, and you know, you're just an editor or just a cinematographer. We really do everything, like start to finish. So I'm writing videos, shooting them, editing them, and having them done within a week. So part of it is just volume. Like, so many people doing videos on their own, and you know, hopefully a story that is organic to them and to their experience. You're gonna have something that hits with a lot of different types of identities.
So if I work at BuzzFeed, I would come up to you and I'd be like, I really want to make this video about Taylor Swift and corgis eating Filipino food. Do you have to approve that, or I can just go off and make that and BuzzFeed will put it up?
I might push back and say that the Taylor Swift is going to be too expensive for us because we usually have a $300 budget for our videos. But other than that, yes, go make that video.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's very creator friendly.
Yeah,
Creative
absolutely.
freedom.
I think
Sure.
essentially the diversity in content is sort of representative of the diversity behind screen. So essentially everyone can be themselves. So you get producers who are just making what they love or what they want to do, that's sort of a reflection of their experience. And so with that, I mean, some people love corgis and some people love like really serious race issues. So, and not love race issues. Love to discuss race issues. So I think that's what is really the testament to the sort of working model we have at BuzzFeed.
And so Abe and Eugene, you guys work together at BuzzFeed. Are you guys joint producers?
Well, let's see. I think when Eugene first started, you were on my team, right? Like we were
Our
on the
teams
same-
are constantly
the
shifting.
blue team. Yeah,
we
it's
change
changed
every quarter.
changed
so
a lot.
Which keeps it
Yeah.
exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like kind of following what we think is most exciting happening online. So sometimes it's dedicated to a particular like idea if you're on a team that's trying to do things about identity. But currently I'm actually on a team that's more focused on branching out more on Facebook, while he's on a team that's doing more unscripted content, so like documentary style. So, and Mallory just runs the show.
No big
UCSD.
deal. No big deal. Yeah. They're commercials. Sorry, okay. I'll stop there.
So while they make videos, you are the one actually looking at the analytics of those videos and seeing how they're performing.
Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff that we do is kind of like our team works and like implants themselves and like brainstorms and figures out like what's working, what's not, depending on what platform. And I think the best part is like it's like an open conversation where the producer's like chatting with one of my analysts and they're like, hey, like what's going on here? What's going on there? Is it working? Is it not? Should we look at like different metrics? What should we look at? So I think that's like tells a story and it makes the producer really think like what's working, not just like creatively, but to our audience and what they're liking. So.
And based on like your analytics, what would you say makes a successful video at BuzzFeed?
Depends on which platform. So all we talk about is like distribution and test and learn. So it changes. Like what works now is so different. What worked like a year ago. When we started, it's like so different from what we did before. We used to do a lot of our old school stuff, like our facts and hacks and stuff, and now it's really transformed to people's identities and like figuring out what works. So it really just depends on the platform.
Also, no one watched videos on Facebook like a year ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No
And
one wanted
now
to watch
everyone
videos on
walks on
BuzzFeed
Facebook.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, we started with just YouTube, and then now it's like, where should we go next? And so like Facebook's a huge, like a big chunk of our views, and then Snapchat's now a big chunk of our views. So it's like really thinking more eyes on our content on different places and globally. So.
And do you guys work top down? So do you, like, for example, do you think like, oh, I want to work on something in race? Do you come up with the title of your video first, or do you kind of build out that script and then try to come up with something really catchy that self-explains everything you're about to see?
I mean, a title's definitely important. That's something I think that BuzzFeed taught me pretty well. There's definitely like a lot of A/B testing on the BuzzFeed.com side where people will title their posts with a few different headlines and see which one performs best. And there's a lot of variability. I don't think that's the right word, is it, Mallory?
There's a lot of
those
factors.
things? There's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
I
The
don't.
variables are the same.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of factors. But yeah, I mean, the title is definitely a big part of it, and that's something that's tricky with different platforms too, because a lot of titles will get cut off after 4 words.
Yeah.
So you have to make those first 4 words.
But
count.
it is, I think the content is first and foremost, so that's really developed pretty much depending on the producer, like how they like, and some people write scripts, some people write beats, breakdowns. What's great about what he's discussing with titles is that at BuzzFeed, there's a science behind it. Like there's an actual statistical science behind what people like to click on more than others. Like if you see a number in a title versus if you see a thumbnail with a certain person's face, or if it's a close-up or a wide shot, we have science people behind it.
And what are those science facts
I
so
don't
we can
know
all
who they
become
are.
this BuzzFeed?
I'm obviously went to art school. I don't know.
Oh,
Science
Yeah.
people.
okay.
That's what my team's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys actually had a very nice video that I'd like to play with a very catchy title. If Asians said the stuff white people say. Yeah. Fun fact, this is also the first Asian American viral BuzzFeed video.
By Abe. By this one right here.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Don't you have trouble telling white people apart?
So what was it like producing and starring in the first viral Asian American BuzzFeed video?
So Abe was actually the producer on it.
Yeah, I'll give you just a little bit of background on how it came about. It basically started as a Facebook suggestion. I'm Facebook friends with Jeff Yang, who you might know as a writer for the Wall Street Journal, or more likely father of Hudson Yang on Fresh Off the Boat. And he had a thread, I don't remember exactly what it was, but was talking about another video, and people were chiming in about kind of what that would be. And it basically was the germ of this idea. And I said, that sounds great. I think we should do that at BuzzFeed. And that was the start of it. And then kind of emailed that idea out to an internal BuzzFeed alias. And there is enough diversity that a lot of people chimed in on that thread with their own individual experiences. And then when I cast Eugene in it, he came up with a lot of great stuff in the moment as well, like both beforehand and in the moment. And I'm not going to take credit for launching Eugene's on-screen popularity, but it did start there, guys.
The obsession, yeah.
Awkward. So what's great is that really was the first, arguably, probably our first racially oriented mega viral video. And I know even on Angry Asian Man, the blog, it's still the most shared posts they ever had. So it was widely circulated at the time, and it was great because it was sort of setting a new precedent for us to explore these types of issues through comedy, but also in a way that's like really direct and uncompromising. And it was great because it was kind of like, the great thing about BuzzFeed is that we have this giant global network. So when he talks about like email aliases, we can discuss these type of topics to people in New York and Asia and Europe. We can bounce around ideas. And if you think of like your Facebook threads, like the one this idea came from, and how you talk to friends about an idea and it bounces around, that's essentially like what a BuzzFeed brainstorm is. So it's very open, and there's really no shitty ideas. Oh, see, I cursed.
It took a long time.
Yeah, I was
10
proud of
minutes in.
myself. But yeah, it's all about just kind of like representing yourself and then just letting other people's ideas like help prove that point. And this was a really great example of like an idea that just worked really well. And then reiterated after that, we got to do a lot of other things with different ethnicities, and it just kind of opened a floodgate, which was like begging to be burst open.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of like racially charged videos from BuzzFeed now going viral all the time, because it's like a lot of people who find themselves underrepresented get to see themselves in these videos and relate to them so much. And that's what I think is really great about BuzzFeed, is you guys make so many videos that are so niche, but there's always a group of people that find them relatable. Do you try to tackle mostly things that are like a passionate choice for you guys, or do you want to tackle something you don't know in order to learn? What typically excites you in terms of producing?
Personally, I like a mix of both. I'm a curious person, so I like to learn as much as I can, and you guys might have noticed I'm not Asian American.
What?
But it's a community that means a lot to me. I come to San Diego Asian Film Festival almost every year, so I feel a part of the community, and this certainly came from that. I feel
You are more Asian than Mallory and I are Asian.
Most definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Most definitely.
Now it's awkward for me, Eugene. But that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I do like a mix of some things that reflect me, and some things that are just explorations of meeting other people and trying to tell their stories, which is part of what I'm doing now with the unscripted stuff, is going out and finding just people's stories to tell in the way that's authentic to them.
Yeah, again, it's highly individual. I think authenticity is a huge thing. So certain producers, like my colleague Daisha, is like very focused on race issues, which is great because she produces wonderful content. And then some people kind of dip around to different things depending on what they're dreaming about or feeling that week. So it's really great because there's not really many restrictions as long as you feel like you personally are passionate about the subject.
And then Mallory, how do you decide which videos to analyze? Or are they just thrown onto your desk? And
I mean, it's mostly like we'll look and be like, oh my gosh, we have this viral video. Let's figure out what's been working. And as Eugene said, like, do it over, an iterative process. Like keep hitting it and seeing like if we can recreate that process. Or like, for example, we had like Kane, who's also an alum from UCSD. He produced I am Asian, but I'm not, ... right? So it's like, I am Asian, but I'm not good at math. I'm this, but I'm not whatever, right? And so like he produced that, and we're like, wow, that really performed really well. And then now we have like 15 iterations of it. I am Muslim, but I'm not. I am fat, but I'm not. I am a female, but I'm not. So it's like, that's like the kind of process where we think like, oh, what other group can we like reach based on the content that works in the frame or the idea. So. And
how much communication do you have with the producers in terms of feedback of what's working and what's not, or do they typically, like, they can tell via the numbers?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. So there's like leaders of different teams, and then usually that kind of filters to us and they ask questions. Sometimes a producer will be like, oh, we have a question. So we have a VidStats email, like vids, like here, this is what works, this is what doesn't. And that's kind of like our team, and we just be like, okay, let's talk and communicate and see like what you think and figure out why things work. So.
It sounds kind of like mad scientist-y, but if you think about entertainment at large, we're essentially just truncating that entire process into like a very open dialogue between people who all act on the same level, as opposed to like these old white dudes who just take like whatever's popular in Black culture and make a movie out of it. Like, for real. But no, I'm saying like that's what BuzzFeed does, but in a really open manner. So these types of like reiterations, when we say that word, it's not really copying, but like it really is just kind of taking something that we found impacted the audience, and we try to own it with someone who feels genuinely passionate about it, which is great.
Are you guys afraid that you're going to run out of ideas?
That's what our commenters are telling us since day one.
Yeah, or they'll say
BuzzFeed's
definitely running out of ideas.
I don't think so. I think, life is always changing. It's always interesting, and we have so many colleagues now. I mean, it started when we were at our old office. It was 35 of us. Maybe,
but there's only 20 producers.
Like yeah.
Yeah, 20 producers, and now we have like close to 200.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So I think
it's crazy.
Yeah, you're kind of representing so many different parts of life. I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
Running out of ideas.
Yeah, I love it. We have another clip.
Burritos are good, yo.
Yeah. So what inspired this?
Actually, this was my video. My mom was in town. And I thought, like, what can I do with my mom? And it was just kind of the most honest sort of thing I could think of, that I just brought in a couple of the producers' parents, Ashley's and Kane's. And yeah, that one really resonated with people, and we reiterated off of that as well.
Yeah.
But this was kind of a good example of like how we try to show Asian American culture and people on camera in a way that feels like very unfiltered. And you can tell that an Asian American person produced this, or at least someone who's sensitive to the culture. And this is kind of great because, you know, a lot of frames we had initially at the beginning with Asians said the stuff white people say, we've come to a point where this was about half a year later, and we can evolve where there isn't necessarily even a reference point to like the majority or to white people. This is just like, yo, look at these Asians talking to other Asians about being Asian.
Yeah.
Which is like, this is the most Asian you can get in a video. But then what's great about that is then you have non-Asians who watch this and say, oh, my mom's just like that. And that's what's important, because we all, you know, grow up thinking like, oh, I'm just like, you know, Zach Morris in Saved by the Bell. I thought he was great. But you know, you always think that you're training yourself to think like someone else, and now with this, like, you think a 5-year-old who's watching it can like relate immediately to an Asian face with their Asian mom because they feel that same type of relationship. So I'm not thinking that like in a subversive way, but it really is the effect of these types of videos, which is great.
So are you, most of the time when you're trying to create videos, are you actively thinking about racial stereotypes and how you can play with that or undermine it or bring it to a more relatable level?
Yeah.
I certainly was for the If Asians Said the Stuff White People Say.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, kind of a little bit tricky of like coming up with the right game, I guess you would say, of you know, a way that would be kind of clear of what stereotype you're talking about, but also specific, you know, to, you know, kind of the ones that Eugene flipped in the scene that you saw. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I feel like we, especially as young people, are so hyper aware of stereotypes and the PC aspects of things, and especially as someone who has had to be on camera pretty frequently and sharing my personality, I realized that, you know, people would point out things that they felt like was anti-stereotypical and like relate to that, but then also so much of who I am is very Asian in a lot of ways, and so denying the sides of you that might fall into stereotype is also, like, I think just a poor way to represent yourself if you're fighting against stereotype. It's like the whole thing of like, I mean, I look pretty good in dresses. I look great in dresses. So it's like, you know, it's like, oh, he's so masculine, but I mean, he looks great in a dress, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Everyone's kind of individual. I think that's the whole thing. So I think people appreciate that genuine approach as opposed to this fighting against, like, I cannot look like I'm good at math, you know, because that just never gets you good anywhere. I'm terrible at math, but you're pretty good at math, right?
I mean, you know.
UCSD.
Economics major.
Hello.
Thurgood Marshall.
Thurgood Marshall? Okay.
I'd love to know, how has the representation affected the audience's perception of race over the years? I'm sure you guys monitor the comments on your own video, and you've kind of learned like how your audience is receptive to things. Have you noticed a change in their attitude?
I was definitely looking at comments when that video came out, because I think because it was the first kind of video about race that really hit. It certainly wasn't all positive comments in there. My favorite thing that I saw in there was, you know, white people complaining about things and saying, oh, well, you couldn't do that if you were talking, you know, if those roles were reversed, you couldn't say those things. And then I really loved seeing Asian Americans respond with just #white tears. That made me really happy.
That's
so I
great.
liked that dialogue showing up in the comments. So yeah, I was looking and seeing what discussion was started, and was kind of proud of that.
There was like a lady who was white tears for Halloween.
Yeah, that's pretty
Did you
cool.
see that? Did everyone see that? It was so good. Okay, sorry, continue.
I love that.
I mean, from when I first started, I think a lot of us initially, when we especially load up on YouTube, it's like, okay, what are the trolls gonna say? What are they gonna say? How bad is it gonna be? Because I feel like YouTube is the harshest platform in terms of like feedback, and they're very opinionated about our content, which is good and hurtful in some ways. But now, when we release very like thought-provoking content, there's definitely a more positive and welcoming attitude than there used to be. And I think before we used to moderate comments and be like, delete, report, like this is terrible. But now I feel like a lot of them have accepted kind of what we do and what we try to expose. And I think that is like awesome because I feel like we've grown our viewer base, but we've also grown like with them to be like, hey, this stuff is like a big deal, and it's not like we're just doing it for shits and giggles. Dang it, I did it.
Now it's you, Abe.
I actually would argue.
Yes.
I had to get something.
Yeah, there we go.
I would argue that our audience is actually more divided because they are aware of the sort of content that we are producing. So there are sides now because we become so large that you have just a contingent that automatically says like, oh fuck, BuzzFeed's starting a race war. Why are you gonna talk about white people that way? But I love that because one, I know who not to be friends with. But two, I feel like all of my like say white friends or a friend who's like, you know, the stereotype of a butthurt like straight white male who doesn't get it is like essentially a stereotype we're playing with, but it is a stereotype based in privilege. So like it's like kind of like we always had to deal with stereotypes as minorities. So all my friends are like, yeah, whatever, it's funny. Like who cares? Like I get it. But people who don't get it, I mean, that's what's kind of like revealing because we're speaking to, you know, a very big audience, and we do want to affect change. So I think there is content that we are looking to do that, like hopefully gets like the young kids who might feel like alienated or antagonized to a certain degree. But right now, all I say is like we are kind of providing a response to like hundreds and hundreds of years of like one side story, and it's just happening over the past 2 years, and people are like, oh my God, oppression, reverse racism, and I'm like, well, great. I hope you feel like your life is endangered right now, but that's kind of like the climate online because, you know, kids are young and they're impressionable, but we are partially responsible for that, but I think that we are also trying to be responsible for affecting a change in like a positive manner. But sometimes you gotta start by like slapping people in the face, you know? Like, here's what Asians think, shut up.
You're solving the internet.
Yeah, just slap the internet in the face.
What I find really interesting about BuzzFeed is how it's kind of turned people into very recognizable faces. Like they're not necessarily like a YouTube star in their own right, but they are because you have this giant vehicle to use. Like BuzzFeed actually stole away one of my assistants.
Who?
Claudia Restrepo Gomez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was my assistant.
Claudia's great.
And she left to go make videos for you. But it's funny because all these people.
Oh, you're the boss she had that she took. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, wow.
I so love it here. I'm chained to my desk.
The snacks you guys have just lure people away.
All about the
Patreon
snacks.
tab.
Yeah.
But what is that like? I mean, I'm sure, have you been recognized before? Is it creating vehicles for you? What does it feel like to be creating these people who now know you as a commodity?
I get recognized a lot, but I think there's no way to say that. There's no way to say that without sounding like a dick.
We could talk about it if you'd like.
No, don't talk about it.
No, he wants the
But the one cool thing about it is that generally, so if me and say the other like Try Guys are walking around, people like tend to just rush us and like they'll either hug us or people point at us and say, "Hey, did I go to high school with you?" It's like this. It's not a feeling of like, "Oh my God, Jennifer Lawrence," and they like die. It's more, "I know you from somewhere. I swear to God, we're friends." This is kind of the vibe, and I think that just really speaks to the type of content we produce. People feel like they already know us. You pretty much already know me, like everything about me. You probably know more about me than I know about me.
We all do.
But that's kind of the climate of like our like celebrity culture is very much more like a best friend culture, honestly. Like I feel like now when people start talking about their stuff, they don't even have to like introduce themselves. They'll say like, "Oh my God, like pregnancy bellies," and I'll be like, "Yeah, that was crazy." Yeah, so I did a video where I wore pregnancy bellies. It's not like something I was never pregnant. In case anyone doesn't know, yeah, I just want to specify that. But yeah, no, it's cool. I think it's, but also the other bottom line is that we have a lot of underrepresented communities with young faces who are now being like recognized by lots of little kids even.
Oh.
So that's always worrisome when a 4-year-old runs up to you and says like, "Oh, I love you on YouTube." And I'm always like, "What did you see?" Usually it's something harmless, you know? But, usually. Like, "I saw your S&M video."
What kind of child is this? Why are they talking so weird?
I don't know.
Like creepy.
It was in Ohio or something. It was like,
Okay.
This is my child voice.
Yeah. Mallory, what about you? Do you analyze who's a star vehicle on BuzzFeed?
Analyze. How do we do that? No, but we have definitely taken a good point of like, one of the things that we look at is also like who is being talked about on comments and like in terms of casting and what's that about. So I mean, there's no hard science to it, but obviously we have like I don't know, 20 producers that have over, I don't know, 50,000 followers on Instagram. It just happens when they pick an identity and they reach to an audience, and all of a sudden they have this influx of like, I love you, you know, you're my mom. What the heck is that? What do you, and I'm like, I am too old for this. I'm like, my mom and my dad. I was like, that is genetically impossible. You don't even look like that person.
It's good to be someone's mom.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's
I know
like,
it's
I
weird,
didn't
but
birth you.
Yeah, but you're like, Mom.
No. Super weird. Super weird. But yeah, so it's like you see a lot of these people, and that's like one of the things where like, it's like organically happens. Like these talented people who are producers and making content, it's like they are like, well, we're not going to hire anybody, we're just going to be in it. And then happenstance, it's just like you become like this person that people connect with and want to have conversations with. And we have this email for BuzzFeed, and I'm talking about emails all the time, but that email specifically is about how the impact is across like globally. And so we send all these emails about how people are influenced by our content. And a lot of them are about like these characters, like, oh my God, I love Eugene, and I love Ashley, and I love Sarah, and all these characters. And it's because like they've touched like this audience, and none of them expected that, like this stardom, this fandom. But it's like, we have such talented people that they like really love.
Everyone follow Mallory on Instagram.
Oh my God.
Just say
No,
mom
I have
every picture.
Mom and
mommy.
Dad. I will lose it. I'm like, I did not birth you. I did not.
We have one more clip. So, let's talk about this now. Eugene, what has the experience been like being the lone minority in BuzzFeed's flagship series?
So BuzzFeed is like constantly experimenting with things like even series. So Try Guys was just happened to be the first one that like really landed with people. You don't know, it's a group of 4 young gentlemen who, open-minded, just go and try stuff. So it's myself, Keith, Zach, and Ned. And this was one of our first videos, one that we like first started discussing like who we are as characters in comparison to one another. But it really was just 4 guys who just got together and started doing like videos, because we had a lot of videos before this of guys trying stuff, and we still have videos like that, but the audience just really responded to our dynamic as 4 like super nerdy, dumb people. And yeah, so then this just became one of the more popular series that you might see on BuzzFeed Video. Being the lone minority is interesting because what's great is that I think sometimes when you just work with people, and I think the same thing is with friendships, you always are aware of race, but also like when you guys just genuinely like each other, it's more about just like what makes you different, and then race is just kind of like part of that sometimes. So like they all know I'm obviously the Asian one, I'm the non-white one, but I'm also like the crass one, I'm also the one who drinks a lot, I'm also the one who gets in fights, which all happen to be like somehow like anti-stereotype, which I think a lot of people started paying attention to that type of characterization. But yeah, it's interesting because sometimes when you do things, I think, in a writing scenario, you try to overwrite characters, whether it should be too much into stereotype or anti-stereotype, but I was fortunate enough to be part of this series where I literally just became best friends with these 3 guys, and naturally my like weirdness in comparison to them came out. And you know, part of that is some Asianness, you know? Like I forced us to do our cosplay series and our K-pop series, because I was like, let's get in this shit. Let's get some cosplay going. But you know, otherwise they never would have touched it. So sometimes, yeah, I do push like my own like Asian agenda forward. But otherwise, it's just like it's just the 4 of us just being really goofy, which I think is what people most appreciate. Is that I'm not like trying to politically slam anything in their faces, but when I have to represent, I'll represent.
Mallory, do the numbers back this up?
I'm like, beep, boop, beep, boop. Yes, they do. Yes.
Is that what your computer sounds like?
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, I think the best part about it is like the numbers don't lie in terms of like the fan base that you guys have, obviously. And the cool part is that from the Try Guys have stemmed off of like other series like Taste Friends. And I think that in itself is like, they're even becoming like people that are like, oh, you're part of Test Friends, like this is awesome, like oh my gosh. And I feel like, yes, you guys are like the flagship model, but there's a lot of things that kind of come out of that.
There's a lot of great stuff happening now.
Yeah, even now. And so like, and that kind of stemmed off from Try Guys into like especially with like our Violet channel and our series there. And we're releasing like Violet on iTunes shortly, and that's going to be like our first like go to market purchase. Like, you know, like this all of this stuff is like test and learn and figuring things out. And like I think Try Guys has really been like a stepping platform to a lot of that. And from there, we like kind of analyze, hey, like who are people talking about? What's going on? Like, why are people attached to this person like Eugene? You know, so
Asians
obviously
can sell, guys.
Yeah.
Asians
I
can
mean,
sell in entertainment.
right?
I mean, Ashley Perez is like the star of Violet, you know.
yeah.
So it's people who tell you that Asians can't sell, just be like, look, BuzzFeed. There's like a shit ton of Asians fucking pushing this shit. So I just like.
You just went.
I know.
You just kept going.
Okay, no more cursing.
Great. I'd love to open it up for questions. Does anyone have a question? Raise your hand. Hi. Yes.
Hi guys. I was just wondering, can you guys tell us the difference between your BuzzFeed color videos?
That's a very good question. The difference between the BuzzFeed yellow and red and blue and all the colors.
Do you want to?
I don't know.
Oh.
He pointed at Abe. I was like, Abe?
No,
Yeah, so BuzzFeed Video is our flagship channel, and a lot of our content goes on there. And then BuzzFeed Yellow, okay, so it's kind of like an identity, it was meant to be more female focused. And then Blue is our science channel, and then Violet is like the Totally You channel. So that has all like the Violet girls and like character driven and like who you are and how can we relate to you.
They're kind of evolving now anyways. I think the original
Yes.
philosophy was name things colors because you don't want to like
Right.
differentiate too much. You know, it doesn't have to be like the sports channel or
Right.
the, you know, the race channel. It can be a lot of different things. Naturally, I think things just for organizational purposes start funneling, but it started out just like you're more likely to click both things if you don't really quite know exactly what's in it. And colors are cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a giant marketing scam.
Yeah.
Next. Yes.
Hi y'all. Which directors or screenwriters do you all see as inspiration?
Inspiring directors or screenwriters.
Wow.
Abe?
Well, I'm gonna work this back into a plug for the documentary that I'm working on. There's this documentary filmmaker who I love named Lucy Walker. All her docs are great. Definitely check out stuff that she's done. And she came in recently to consult with me on this movie that I'm doing called Brother Orange. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this story, but I got to go to China earlier this year, and it was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. Google Brother Orange. So I'm in the kind of final stages of editing that doc, and that might also be an iTunes thing. We're not sure exactly how.
TBD.
Yeah, TBD how you will be able to see it, but it's coming in the next few months. So that was really exciting to me to like get to work with this filmmaker inspiration of mine on a movie that I was doing, and it's like I don't think that would have happened if I was just doing it on my own.
Do you guys have one?
I mean, my job is just primarily like YouTube and what we make. So I feel like a lot of my inspiration comes from just talking to these guys. For me, like the producers are like my family, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that we do is like figuring out what works. I mean, like producers pull me into videos and we like just like talk and hang out, and a lot of the stuff that they come up with is like inspirational in itself. And I know that sounds like super corny and it's like I'm a walking BuzzFeed product placement, but like not even kidding, every single producer that works at BuzzFeed is like bomb. Just bomb.
I focus a lot on like more of a high concept music video style. I did video like women's ideal body types through history that was really viral. So I come from like a very strict, stereotypical like film nerd background. So as a 90s child, I was like a very big Fincher Gondry kid. And then Aronofsky popped up and I was like, whoa! So anything that your film school friends who graduated in the past 10 years, I probably like that person.
You'd probably like Mike Diva. You, sir.
How do you respond to heavy pushback on your videos? There was this one video, feminists play Grand Theft Auto for the first time. They got like really heavy negativity on it. Does that inspire you to continue to make videos like that? Or does that discourage you like, oh, this doesn't work? Or is that like, oh, this is interesting because it got a lot of negativity?
I'm always interested in something that generates discussion. I think, for the most part, we're usually pushing the conversation forward in ways that I'm proud of. I mean, that video that you mentioned, kind of ties in with the whole thing with the upcoming South by Southwest conference, which I don't know how many of you know, but BuzzFeed kind of came out with this statement that said that our company would not be involved with it if they canceled these panels that were related to online harassment and representation of women in video games. So I was proud that our company took that stand. And yeah, I think something that is provocative and generates discussion means there's probably a discussion to be had. So for me, yeah, keep making things that do that.
Yeah, we learned equally from like both failures and controversial things. Like we like to talk about video production as like a conversation. Yeah. So imagine that, and it's an ongoing one because we release a ton of videos. So it's great because you get this immediate audience feedback. And so regardless of the conversation you're having, you hopefully want something that will engage and have people then talk about it with another group of people and then talk about another group of people. But sometimes you'll do something like fart in a conversation. And then everyone's like, oh, that was funny and gross. And that's like one thing, but everyone remembers that, And that's an example of an awkward like political moment where everyone just shut up in a group. But if thinking about it in that way, it's necessary because we want to find more about like what we're trying to talk about to the people that we consider our peers, which is the audience. Like it's never like talking down to someone, it's more just like, let's throw this in there, see how people react. And in that instance, yeah, there was a lot of like controversy around people's like reactions, but I think it's really healthy because if you then, think of it like in real life, you don't want to have conversations that are just happy about corgis and Taylor Swift all the time. Even though you think that's all BuzzFeed is sometimes, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if we didn't try those things, we wouldn't know the reaction and what we would understand our audience to be. And that stuff is like, oh man, we really sparked something. What did we spark? Like what really drove this conversation? So I think that really lends us to think like, oh, we should hit that again and see what they'll react more to.
Nice. You in the back.
Cool. So it was said that when making a video, multiple people on the team might have multiple jobs, be involved in the writing, the directing, the acting. So I'm aware that that's a lot of work, and for someone to be involved in almost every aspect, I mean, that's really awesome. So when making a video, what's usually the number of people that go into creating that project? If everyone kind of has a helping hand, how many people are usually involved?
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the video. I'd say early on it was fewer people. So like if Asians said the stuff white people say, it was me shooting and kind of directing from behind the camera and one sound person. And it got completed very quickly. It was like a week-long process. Now that our team has just grown like crazy, there is room for a video that needs higher production value, like a Eugene video, for instance, to have to have some more people, which is great. I mean, that's something because I have a little more of a traditional like filmmaking background before BuzzFeed. I think there's definitely a value in having more than 2 people working on the video.
But even then, the average amount of people like on crew, say, for production would be 2 people aside from you. So I've pretty much shot every video I produced. So I was behind camera, and then even then I would give the camera to someone else and then jump up to be on camera. So it's a lot. Yeah, the most support we have that people might not be aware of is we have a lot of technical support. We have like in-house equipment. So we don't have to go through the whole like crazy, like we don't have to pick up the equipment ourselves in terms of like a truck and all that. But in terms of the actual like roles, you're playing pretty much every single role all the way up until release because you have to edit it yourself as well. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like film school, honestly. It's just your stuff is just seen by billions of people, so you hope it does well. But yeah, just the model is very much like film school.
Cool. Yes.
What advice would you guys give to students who one day want to work for a company like BuzzFeed that's like changing the internet and how we look at things?
I'd say just keep making videos, as many videos as you can, putting them out there and paying attention to feedback too. We're kind of starting to experiment with some more cell phone video. I'm part of a news initiative that's launching pretty soon, and we're sourcing video from bureaus, BuzzFeed bureaus throughout the world. A lot of those offices don't have any video capability, so it's a writer in London doing cell phone video that we'll then put into one, a larger package. But it's like, yeah, that's basically my advice, is just go shoot stuff, make it, and put it out there, and that's like the best way to learn.
And really stand by your unique perspective. I think, if anything, our company culture prizes what you can bring to the table that other people perhaps might not know, especially within a room, but then you know that there's like millions of people out there who can relate to it. And it doesn't always have to be like racially oriented or gender or sexual orientation. It could be like just a personal taste or a hobby that you like, because someone out there is going to respond to it, and we have a platform that can actually reach those people. So whether it be through writing or filmmaking or just being on camera as an actor, like just try to find like your voice and push it as hard as you can. That's like probably the best advice I could give.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions. Yes?
How do the Try Guys come up with like stuff to try?
Our most recent video was prostate exams. I know, there's like a in the audience. Because we were like, oh, we can't grow beards, so next best step is for, good cause. Okay. But yeah, that was actually funnily enough, like on one of our initial brainstorms a year ago. So a lot of times it's just like whatever inspires you either in the moment, or it could be something that we've wanted to do for a long time. The motherhood series, we kind of like knew that would be the ultimate like gender exploration, because one thing is men, biologically we can experience is pregnancy. So it was something we saved for Mother's Day, and we really wanted to build this like tentpole piece around. But yeah, the ideation process is not as like complex or weird as you might think. It honestly is. Sometimes we just have a great idea. Like right now, they're gonna be so mad I said this. We're talking about Christmas videos, and I was like, wouldn't it be great to try to be Santa in some ways? And I said, wouldn't it be great to test like breaking into someone's house? And my show producer was like, no, don't do that. I said, but what if it's Ned's house? And what if Ned doesn't know?
Oh my God.
So there's like a 50% chance the other 3 of us are going to try to like come down his chimney, and if we can't do that, how can we break through his window while him and his wife are sleeping? Just to leave presents under whatever tree they might or plant they might have there. I just thought it was a hilarious idea. Obviously, it probably won't be made, but for every great idea we have, there's like 12 terrible ones. But judging by this reaction, I think we should make it. And if it's not Christmas related, I think we should just break into Ned's house. That's apparently what's happening. Yeah.
Just try burglary.
Yeah, burglary.
Final question.
So you guys said you have offices worldwide, but the videos usually come from the U.S. So are there any like initiatives to get more videos?
Perfect question.
Yeah, so currently we have 3 micro studios. We have London, Mumbai, and Sydney. So those are like outside the U.S. And then, a lot of us here make a lot of videos that reach to like the Philippines, Indonesia. Yeah, Philippines. I'm half Filipino. I got you.
Videos.
Yeah. So we have a lot of ideas for international expansion, and a lot of it kind of just depends like what our audience looks like. But we definitely have obviously like an appetite for it out there. So yeah, it's coming. It's all coming. Yeah.
Okay, 2 quick announcements, but first, give it up for the Digital Pioneer Award of Abe, Eugene, and Mallory. First announcement, to address your selfie question, we actually have a selfie stick man here who's going to take a selfie with all of us, so please pose and smile. Ready?
1, 2, and 3. One more time again. 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, I blinked.
1, 2, and 3. And one more. Yeah.
And everyone smile for Snapchat! And, all right, thank you so much for coming to the panel.
Let's give it up for Anna for doing the moderation.
Actor-producer Eugene Lee Yang, and with him, director Abe Forman-Greenwald of BuzzFeed Motion Pictures.
Pretty cool, Eugene.
Yeah.
This is so exciting. Thank you so much to Pacific Arts. Thank you to San Diego Asian Film Festival. And this festival just means so much to me. I've been here many times before. I love it, and just so honored to receive this award from you. I want to send a shout out to my BuzzFeed colleagues and to two of my BuzzFeed video muses who are here tonight, my wife Lynn Chen, and happy birthday to Jenny Yang. I wouldn't be up here without you, Jenny, so thank you. And I'll turn it over to you, Eugene.
So it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people always ask me, how did BuzzFeed become so diverse? How did you make that diversity thing happen? And I always say, they hired me and they asked me to make stuff. So I think that's like the bottom line. It's interesting because I hear so many great stories today about, I come from a filmmaking background, and I'm reminded about my father, who is a doctor, and I remember this one time I saw him painting, and I didn't realize he could paint, and he could paint roses really well, and I saw him do this drawing, and I said, oh, wow, I never knew you could paint, and I was 18 at the time, and he said, because no one asked me, And I think that's like kind of the situation for a lot of minorities and underrepresented voices in entertainment. It's like no one asked if you could, and we all can. And I think BuzzFeed Motion Pictures is a great place where it's never a question of if you can, but when can you do it? So I'm fortunate to be at a place where I can shoot, edit, write, and star and something like that in 2 days and get it on the internet for millions of people to watch. And I'm only excited to what the future holds for our company, but also for the entertainment industry at large, because if San Diego Asian Film Festival shows anything, it's that we are strong and we are here. And if someone as goofy and stupid and like weird as I am can relate to millions of people abroad and in America, then I know that serious, awesome, talented filmmakers like the ones in this audience can reach people who can really make a change. So thank you so much for this award.